The Secret Diary of an Indoor Cat. Discovered, edited and annotated by Julian Hutchings. Episode 2. Sunday. What are friends? What are mates? I read about them. I see programmes about them, but I've never had one. Pitiful, isn't it? No best friend forever, no best mate, no group of like-minded cats to share jokes and memes and post stupid stories to on Facebook. Later. I'm going to try and escape. I watched a film this afternoon, The Great Escape, maybe you've heard of it, about a group of British prisoners of war who escaped from a German camp by digging a tunnel. It doesn't end well, but mine will. I'm starting in the cupboard under the stairs, where they keep their coats and shoes and a lot of other mess. There's some damp in there and the paint has flaked away and the plaster is crumbling. They won't fix it. They never fix anything, the slobs. But at least it means that my gradual escape plan can come to fruition without fear, unlike those brave POWs and Steve McQueen of being discovered. The family went out this afternoon, Sunday lunch in some not too expensive pub and then a walk through a forest that I'll never see. I shouldn't wonder, so I thought I'd make a start. God, it was hot in there and hard work, harder than I thought it would be. Unlike the POWs, I couldn't strip down. My fur is not removable, in case you didn't know. I pawed at the crumbling plaster and made a small hole. It was about 2 inches wide and a half-inch deep and took me 2 hours until exhaustion and lack of willpower forced me to stop. In the film, they cover the hole with a wooden horse. I couldn't find a horse, but this family has a collection of stuffed animals, so I found an old brown bison that no one plays with and used that. I wonder if they'll notice. As far as I can tell, these animals are not, and were not, real, but I'm not certain of that. I do have a slight worry that when I die they'll have me emptied like an Egyptian mummy and then stuffed with cotton wool and left to rot on their bed with the cow and the monkey, the penguin and the bison, the Harry Potter beasts and the collection of brown and black bears. Maybe life here isn't so bad. Or I could knot some sheets together and lower myself from the bathroom window. Who am I kidding? Like Steve McQueen, I'll never get away, but never let me stop dreaming of my great escape. If you stop dreaming, you stop living. Monday. I haven't always lived here, you know. I've always been a prisoner, but this hasn't always been my prison. I was at a cat charity before this, and before that I lived with an old lady. I can't remember where I was before her. She was nice, the old lady, but she got ill. I think that's when I learned to read and write. She didn't mean to neglect me, but her mind started to go, and her memory. And then she didn't know who I was or what I was. And she didn't feed me. I'd meow and scratch at the cupboards and scratch her sometimes, but I don't think she understood what I was doing or why, and I couldn't talk. Of course, I can't talk now, but that's different. I don't need to. I found out what was wrong with her. I looked it up on the computer, typed in her symptoms, and then looked it up on Wikipedia. She had dementia, so it wasn't her fault. She didn't deliberately stop feeding me or neglect me. It just got to the point where she no longer knew what to do, or how to do it, or when. Sometimes she'd feed me, and then 10 minutes later she'd feed me again, and then again, and again. And I was greedy and fat, so I ate the food she left. But then she wouldn't feed me at all, and it didn't matter how much noise I made or jumped on her lap, or licked her face or slunk around her legs, rubbing against her feet. She still didn't feed me. And then I'd get hungry and weak, and my tummy would hurt. And then she died. I was sad. She was nice to me, and it wasn't her fault she got sick. So that's how I ended up at the cat charity. They kept me inside too. They said I was an indoor cat. But I wasn't an indoor cat. The old lady had kept me in, but I didn't ask for it. It wasn't my choice. She did that. She lived on a main road, and she worried I would run out in the traffic and get killed. Why would I do that? I'm not stupid, and I know what cars look like. And you need a bit of risk in your life, don't you? Tuesday. I've been exploring. You'd think after having lived here most of my life that there would not be an inch of this house that I've not explored. Discovered, crept into, sidled along, sniffed out, observed, scratched at or pawed at. But you'd be wrong. Today I discovered a secret passageway. Secret to me, but I rather suspect that the owners don't know of it either. This is a large house, old and strange. I was in the dining room where I spend much of my time. It's warm, with a nice carpet, a bit frayed, and an open fire. I lie on the carpet in front of the fire and sleep the sleep of the just while the family shuffle around or tickle my tummy and run their fingers through my fine fur. Sometimes sparks shoot out of the fireplace and it's a bit scary, but it's a risk I'll take. But today the house was empty apart from me. There is wooden panelling on either side of the fireplace, old but nicely made and in good condition. Occasionally I'll rub up against the panelling and scratch and itch, and I was doing that earlier. I must have leaned against something, because a section of the panelling slid silently open on some hidden hinges, revealing a passageway. It was maybe a foot square, so big enough for me. Just. I'm quite fat, as you know, with enough room for an animal to crawl into. I entered. It was gloomy, but not dark, and some light must enter from somewhere because it stretched ahead for some distance, and a faint glow illuminated the walls. I went slowly. I felt scared and nervy. I'm not sure why. The fear of the unknown, I suppose. I pushed further in. I half suspected the panel to swing back behind me, interring me in some tomb like you see in the films or that Sherlock Holmes story, The Musgrave Ritual. But that didn't happen. It was cold in there. People think cats don't feel the cold because of our fur and stuff, but we do. The passage continued. Who would have thought there would be space in the house? But it did. After a while I came to a small room. It was tiny, maybe 3 feet square with a low ceiling. I could stand up, obviously, but a dog would struggle. There was a blanket and a torch, which didn't work, and a small box which may have contained food. There were cracks in the walls, which is how the light came in. It was like that Leonard Cohen song, one of my favourites. There's a crack in everything. It's how the light gets in. Could Leonard Cohen have lived in this house? That seemed unlikely. To my knowledge, he had never visited West Wickham, and this space would have been too small for him. I looked it up on Wikipedia. Apparently during the time of Cromwell, many years ago, it was against the law to keep a cat as a pet. Some people, you'll call them brave, I call them traitors, defied the law. They were known as Catolics, and they would build secret spaces known as pussy holes, where their pets would hide. Troops of Cromwell's supporters would tour the country, searching for pussy holes and secret cat hoards, and many Catholics were persecuted and put to death as a result. If you ask me, they deserved it. I lay down and licked my fur. It seemed as good a place as any. I cleaned my paws and rubbed spittle on them and cleaned my ears, and as much of my head as I could reach, as I pondered this mystery. And then I licked my private parts. When in doubt, lick your private parts. That's my philosophy, and I recommend it. I was a prisoner in my own house, but it seems I had not been the only one. What must their life have been like, here in this small room with nothing but walls and a floor for company, a small blanket to keep them warm, scraps of food? At least I had all the facilities of the house at my disposal. The Wi-Fi, television, DAB radio, computers, the many books, their meagre collection of vinyl, my warm carpet by the fire, the people who clearly loved me and looked after me. Maybe my life was not as bad as I've made out. I left after a while, when my fur was clean and I had finished pondering this one of life's mysteries. I returned to the rug in front of the fire. The panel closed behind me, and there was nothing to indicate that it had been there. Had I dreamt it? Slop for dinner again. I hate my life. The children stopped reading the journal at this point and went looking for the passage and the tiny room. The panelling is still there in the dining room by the fireplace, and they tapped at each of the panels like detectives do, listening for hollow sounds or whatever detectives are listening for. But there was nothing different, no telltale sounds or lack of them, and no hidden door and hidden hinges. Maybe Sir Ian made it all up, or maybe the previous owners found the passageway and blocked it. Who knows? We looked up Catolics on Wikipedia, and there was nothing, which is suspicious. Wednesday. Top 10 scratching locations. 1. Brand new dark grey IKEA sofa in the living room. I think it's called Tidderfors. I call it Made for Claws. 2. Fairly new pale blue Laura Ashley sofa in the dining room. 3. Stair carpet, third step from the bottom. 4. Green armchair. 5. Landing carpet outside the bathroom. 6. Stair carpet, fourth step from the bottom. 7. Pale grey footstool. 8. Brown armchair. 9. Off-cut of carpet which they put down beneath my toilet tray, but only if I need a scratch after I've had a dump. 10. Stair carpet, third step from the top. Thursday. They were talking last night around the dinner table, the boy playing with his phone, the girl playing with hers, me on the sofa pretending to sleep and listening to their conversation. "I've seen this Charity," the woman says. "Oh yeah," the man says, watching You've Been Framed and not paying attention like he never does. "It supports cats overseas," she continues. "They call it cat fostering. You pay money every month and they send you photos and updates about your cat, and your money pays for their upkeep." "Is that a joke?" he says. "No, why should it be?" "Well, what about our cats? British cats, homegrown cats. Surely we should support them first before we worry about foreign cats." "British cats? Foreign cats? What are you on about? Cats are just cats. They don't have a nationality. Cats in this country aren't British cats. They're just cats in Britain. And cats in other countries are just cats in other countries. They're not foreign. Anyway, we can't afford it. It's only £15 a month. Cats are cheaper in the third world." "Well, OK then, but pick a nice one. A pretty one. I don't want some miserable, hideous cat, ugly as sin, with attitude. We've got one of them already." £15 a month, diary. I could do with that money. Get some more stuff on Amazon. And I'm not hideous. Sunday. Cats have 9 lives, so it is said. I've just lost one. Let me tell you how it happened. I partially ate a dishwasher tablet. That was a mistake. How was I to know? I started foaming at the mouth. I think they thought I had rabies, and I played along with that, jumping away when I saw some water. How I laughed, inwardly of course, at that. They say a cat has 9 lives. I've now got 8 left. The tablet tasted disgusting, by the way. Not as bad as one of those cat treats, but not far off. I would not recommend it. Wednesday. Places I will never see. Lake Annecy. The canals of Bruges. Mont Ventoux. The Hermitage in St. Petersburg. Rolling, tumbling, scrub-strewn, parched wild animal grazing grasses in Africa. The flowing white, ice-flowed, chill dampness of the Arctic. Polar bears and Arctic foxes, flabby seals and furred-up Eskimos. Junks in Hong Kong. Charles Bridge in Prague in a cold, cold winter. -6 and the breath frozen in icy mist as it leaves your mouth. Iced up whiskers and needing my claws to stop slipping on the frozen streets. Venice and the streets full of water. Overpriced gondolas zigzagging along. London, Paris, Geneva, Amsterdam, Warsaw. In fact, any European city. The Lake District, Yorkshire, Malham Cove and Gordale Scar. Ribblehead Viaduct, Whitby and Robin Hood Bay, York Minster. Auschwitz. Apes on the Rock of Gibraltar. Table Mountain. The Marianas Trench. It's in the Pacific Ocean and is the deepest part of the ocean. Clouds scudding. Scudding. I love that word. New-mown grass, wet leaves, freshly tilled earth, the delicate buds of spring flowers, drifting rain. The salty tang of the sea. Fast-flowing cold river water. Branches heavy with snow. Rising sap. Pollen. How do I know all this, you ask? What do I know of the world whom only the inside of this house has seen? I'm not stupid, you know. I can work the remote. I watch the documentaries. I see David Attenborough from the vantage point of someone's warm lap. One eye closed and the other drinking it in and waiting to be fed. I'll never walk the surface of the moon in a big cat spacesuit, or dive beneath the waves of the Great Barrier Reef in my little cat wetsuit, or swing through the tropical trees of Costa Rica, or walk to Machu Picchu, paddle my kayak across the Torres Straits, play poo sticks in the Ashdown Forest, go island hopping in the Caribbean, cruise the Baltic in a giant ship as their very own ship's cat, or drift down the Nile, lazily sipping top of the milk from my very own gold-plated saucer. Let's face it, and I am facing it. I'll never see anything. do anything, go anywhere, be anyone, break a heart, mend a fence, father a child, bury a parent, save a child from drowning, or eat a peach. Well, I might try a peach. Thursday. Boring. Nothing happened. I took in a parcel for next door. I don't think I'll tell them. Friday. Boring. Nothing happened. I think the radiator in the living room needs bleeding. Saturday. Who is the patron saint of cats? I watched Some Like It Hot. I love that movie. Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, Marilyn Monroe. Have they ever been better? Billy Wilder persuades Marilyn, a clever girl who everyone regards as silly and innocent and naive, to play a girl who's silly and innocent and naive, and she's so clever and such a brilliant actress that she does it. And you think she's acting. Genius. And George Raft, who was a friend of gangsters, plays a gangster. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. It's in black and white, by the way. Monday. The window cleaner came today. He's getting on a bit now and struggles on the ladder. Sometimes I like to hide behind a curtain and leap out at him, just as he's standing on the top step of the ladder and reaching over with his squeegee thing. He always gives a little jump, but I haven't made him fall off his ladder yet. I shall keep trying. I know it's childish, but I can be childish, can't I? Anyway, it's his own fault. I saw on the news that there were some new health and safety regulations, and he's not supposed to be up a ladder. Sunday. These people are so lazy that they can't be bothered to do their own gardening, and so they employ a gardener. He comes once a fortnight and stays a couple of hours. I watch him sometimes to make sure he doesn't get up to any tricks and actually does what he's paid to. He works quite hard, raking up leaves, mowing the lawn, carting the cuttings away, sweeping, some plant pruning and general tidying up. Frankly, I don't see why the man who lives here doesn't do it, or the woman. They're hardly rushed off their feet, looking after me and the kids. Sheer laziness. Or the boy and the girl. They could do it. Monday. Big excitement at breakfast. There was almost a fire in the kitchen. It happened like this. The man is on a diet. He's not as fat as me, but put it like this, it wouldn't hurt him to lose a few pounds. I can be quite catty if I want to be. And has stopped stuffing his face with toast and butter every breakfast. Instead, he makes an omelette. This morning, he heated the frying pan, put some rapeseed oil in, and heated it up. I think he put too much oil in and then swirled the pan too much because some oil splashed out and ignited on the cooker service. Whoosh! Big flames. Cue much shouting and cursing, major panic, faffing about, until he put the fire out. These people. Tuesday. There is sickness in the house. I'm not sure how serious it is. The man hasn't been to work. He lies in bed moaning and occasionally being sick. He also has diarrhoea and rushes to the toilet. Boy, it stinks. Worse than mine, if that's possible. She fusses around him, bringing him cups of tea and constantly asks him if he's all right. It gets a bit wearing. He's not a lot of trouble, but I could do without it. I hope she doesn't get sick. Who'll prepare my 6 or 7 or 8 meals a day and change my tray when it's full? The kids never do it. If you ask me, there's a certain lack of discipline in their lives, and they're both incredibly lazy. Not my business, maybe, but I do live here. The man doesn't do much either, if you ask me. He obviously thinks that because he goes to work, he doesn't have to do anything around the house, which strikes me as a rather sexist, old-fashioned attitude. He's not what you call a new man, and if you ask me, it won't be long before he's an old man. And then what will he do? Wednesday. The sickness continues. The girl has taken to her bed now. Between ourselves, I don't think she's really ill, but I daren't say anything. Not that I can, of course. Well, I could, but I won't. Thursday. The man's gone to work. Thank the Lord. He was getting on my nerves, moaning and puking all the time and disappearing off to the toilet 10 times a day and shouting at the woman to bring him a cup of tea. Frankly, it's better if it's just me and the woman in the house. More peaceful, and we get on fine together, and I get fed regularly. Wednesday. They got rid of the plastic mat under my toilet tray. Not before time. Little puddles of wee used to collect on it where I missed the tray, and then they slid off onto the carpet underneath, which had started to smell. Smell! It stank! And I don't know why they didn't do something about it before. Anyway, they've bought a couple of cut-offs of carpet which they've put on the floor to cover up the stains. The smell is still there, but now you can't see it. They seem to think that makes it better. It doesn't. Thursday. Some Mormons came to the door. The woman answered it and stood on the doorstep, chatting to them for ages. Does she not realise that's fatal? They'll convert her next, and then what? She'll move to Utah and be one of 6 wives like Henry VIII, only a woman, if that makes sense. I remember when she toyed with Scientology and covered the house with pictures of Tom Cruise and John Travolta, and then there was a short period when she thought of converting to Islam. She started wearing a burqa and refused to eat pork. This was at the time of Ramadan, and she was supposed to fast from dawn to dusk, which was never going to work. And it didn't. It lasted one day, and then she took off the burqa and had a big cooked breakfast. Another time she discovered Buddhism and became a vegetarian, spent her time sitting cross-legged on the floor, like wittering about karma, and then making some odd chanting noise. Thankfully, that phrase didn't last. And the other day she was talking about getting a tattoo. She needs to have an affair. The girl wants a tattoo. She keeps making these mad suggestions, phrases she reads in novels, bits of Shakespeare, flowers, lines from poems, something in Arabic or a lion. I blame social media, but I'm warming to the idea. I quite like small, tasteful tattoos. Not tramp stamps, obviously, or sleeves. Cats don't have tattoos for a few reasons. 1, we're covered in fur, so you wouldn't see it. 2, most cats, including me, don't like the sight of blood. 3, we can never decide what to get. Friday. We have this postman who's always on the phone. You can hear him down the street shouting at people on his stupid phone. People can be so inconsiderate. It's usually when I'm having my mid-morning nap, and it invariably wakes me up. I was thinking of lying in wait and making a run for it when they open the door for another one of their Amazon parcels. But they always make sure the door to whichever room I'm lurking in is shut, so I never get the chance. And do I really want to escape? I say I do, and I think I do, and it's what I feel I ought to do, and I should do, and I would do if I got the chance. But do I really? Really? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just pretending and fooling myself, trying to make my life seem more interesting and me braver than I really am. Be careful what you wish for, ancient Chinese proverb. But it makes a lot of sense. Fulfillment is not always better than anticipation. What would happen to you if all your dreams came true and you got everything you ever wanted? Would you be like the fisherman's wife, always wanting more? Or the lottery winner who bought a private jet and crashed on their first flight? All their dreams and most of their money gone in a puff of smoke and skidding tyres? And anyway, what would I do? And where would I go in that big wide world? Maybe home is where your 6 or 7 or 8 dinners are, and where people love you or pretend to love you. I take pretend love over no love every time. Saturday. Essential interlude. What came before the Big Bang? In the beginning, there was nothing. Just a ball of matter, incredibly dense, and the Big Bang exploded that ball of matter, and the universe was created as it spread outwards. And it is still spreading, and will go on spreading. And before the Big Bang, you ask? What I believe is that there was no before. Before is a concept that only exists if time exists. And as there was no time, there was no before. Humans can't grasp this, but cats can. We sit around, if there is more than one of us, which in this house there isn't, as I'm the only cat, but still, and we lick our private parts and yawn and sharpen our claws on carpets and upholstery, and we ponder the mysteries of the universe, and then we sip some milk, or fornicate, not me, obviously, and sleep the sleep of the just. Later. They bought me some jewellery. They went shopping and returned with a new collar, but I call it cat jewellery. It's soft and black, and there's a silver disc which hangs from it, which has my name on it. Not my name, the name they've given me. My true name is a secret which only another cat can know, and I don't know any other cats. Sunday. The end of all things. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Depressed, down, in the dumps. They've gone and left me, again. I heard them talking. Little whispers in quiet corners when they think I'm not listening, or maybe they think I can't understand, but I'll catch them out. They whisper to each other in cat whispers, but I can read their lips, the swine. Garden centre, tea shop, Sainsbury's, all the detritus of their humdrum lives, but so far beyond what I can do, It might as well be the Azores or the Gobi Desert or St. Helena. I pissed on the carpet on the stairs. That'll teach 'em. I wish they'd get the message. They just think I'm incontinent or getting old or poor pussy. They don't get that it's a protest, my little revolt, my deepening anger over how they treat me. The fools. They've bought some strange smelling scented stuff. It sits on the windowsill above where I piss, and there are little sticks stuck in the neck of the bottle like long toothpicks, and they suck up the smell of lavender or basil or turmeric or whatever the hell it is and release it into the atmosphere to counteract the overpowering smell of my urine, which now permeates every nook and cranny of my prison. It won't work. Piss, lavender, piss, lavender, piss, lavender, piss, piss. Piss wins every time. My patience is greater than theirs, and my bladder can refill and refill and refill more than their glass bottles ever will. I know it's childish, but they started it. Tuesday. I watched a documentary last night while sitting on the girl's lap about the world and pollution. A world made of plastic is what we'll end up with if we're not careful. The amount of plastic they get through in this house is criminal, and the kids never do any recycling. They just throw it in the bin. After they've all gone to bed, I sort through their rubbish and put it into the correct recycling bins. Paper goes in the paper pile. Hope it doesn't blow away. Plastic goes in the plastic pile. Glass goes with glass. But the little square cat food trays, i.e. that contain my dinner, what do you do with them? And the little dribbles of brown liquid swilling around the bottom after the tray has been emptied into my bowl. Where does that go? It's a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, hidden in a conundrum, bound by the unknown. Wednesday. Vegetarians and vegans. I mean, why? Why would you bother? I don't get it. I have learned to open a tin of food. I should keep this discovery to myself. Why should I do all the work? Thursday. There's been a power cut. We were in darkness most of the day, plus the television didn't work. The Wi-Fi was off and the fridge stopped working, so my cream was warm and smelt funny. It was miserable. Friday. Newspapers are no longer delivered. I know the print media is dying. I watched a programme about it on YouTube, but still one wonders. Are they short of money? Saturday. I saw a ghost last night and it scared the living daylights out of me. To be honest, diary, I'm only just getting over it. It happened like this. It was a dark and stormy night. No, really, it was. There was heavy rain. I've never felt rain. And it lashed against the windows and the roof, and there was a heavy wind. I've never felt wind outside, which blew in powerful gusts, and I was worried that the big oak tree in the garden would blow over. And there was thunder and lightning. In fact, everything, like I said, stormy. They'd all gone out to Pizza Express. The woman had a 2-for-1 voucher. She loves her vouchers, and the girl loves the cannelloni, while the man always has a great big American hot pizza with extra pepperoni. The pig. I know because they talk about it endlessly when they come in. Anyway, it was late and dark, and I was upstairs asleep on the girl's pillow. My third favourite place to sleep, if you remember, diary. The room was dark, and the curtains were closed, but not completely, so a bit of light from the street lamp seeped in like a stain. I was lying there, my paws tucked under me in that cute way they always like, my right cheek resting on one paw, and I was dreaming of filthy girl cats, as I often do. Something woke me, and I opened one eye, as cats do. I could hear creaking, like a wooden shutter slowly swinging back and forth on rusty hinges. From where I lay, at the back of the room, under the radiator, its soft warmth enveloping my back, I had a clear view of her bedroom door, which was open. As I lay there, one eye open, drowsy, the dregs of my dirty dreams still dancing through my mind, I saw a pale figure move swiftly across the hallway past the open door. It had 4 legs and slunk in a slinking kind of way with whiskers and a cat's features. You could have knocked me down with a feather if it had been standing up. As it passed the door, it turned its head and looked at me with a little ghostly smile on its chops, and I swear it winked. I leapt up and arched my back as I straightened up and yawned. No need to rush, I thought. I sort of sidled to the door, trying to look nonchalant, and just as I got to the door I leapt through like a scalded cat, which I wasn't, but am, if you know what I mean. Nothing. The landing was bare. No cat but me. What does it mean, diary? Am I not alone in this house after all? Do I share my prison with another? Or were there others before me, and this was the ghost of one of them? It's a mystery. You've been listening to episode 2 of The Secret Diary of an Indoor Cat, discovered, edited and annotated by Julian Hutchings. Make sure you tune in and hear episode 3 wherever you get your podcasts.